Now at Live Mocha, as all of you know, we've had tutor reviews for some time, and they work really quite well. They're very popular. Seem to be not only very popular, but also seem to be quite effective because people who use tutor reviews, on the average, spend 9, 10, even as many as 12 months working on their language with sustained effort. So it actually works pretty well. But it's not enough because it's reactive help from you only related to a Live Mocha exercise. And what we have heard for years by the tens of thousands, in fact, even more than millions of people have asked us to give them guidance and structure so that they understand how to proceed. And what they really are looking for is someone who cares about their progress. In the end, all language students that are successful do so because they're accountable to someone. So that's where the language coach comes in. That's your role. You are not delivering a lecture in a classroom. You are not supposed to be trying to cobble together a group of students and teach off of a blackboard. Your job as the language coach is very individual. Each individual needs prompting and checking. And you want to use Live Mocha messaging to do that, because that way we can support you when you need help from us. But you can use any tool. In fact, we urge you to use the best tools to help each client student progress. So for example, I have been learning French with Live Mocha, and my tutor noticed that I was struggling with verb conjugations, and she pointed me at a really great website that had a number of exercises and taught me some of the verb conjugations that I was struggling with. So Live Mocha is a fantastic website and has wonderful resources, but it will never, even after 10 years of doing this, we will never have all of the resources necessary to teach a language. There will always be fantastic resources available elsewhere, whether they're on the internet or other resources that you have at your disposal that you will be able to use to help your client student. Your job as a language coach is to be appropriately challenging and encouraging. And of course, there is grammar and vocabulary and pronunciation. So I don't want to say that that's not a part of the job. That is a very important part of the job. But as a language tutor, that's been the exclusive thing that you've been focused on. So you're not just a tutor. You're actually a coach, prompting and using lots of tools and your entire experience set to help an individual make the progress that's appropriate for them. It's not just about correcting grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Now, I have quite a few years of experience as a professional coach, and I wanted to share with you some elements of coaching behavior that really distinguishes the great coaches from just the average coaches. And the first is, don't make any assumptions. Regardless of what kind of communication tool you use, whether it's Live Mocha messaging or Skype or some chat mechanism like maybe MSN Messenger or Yahoo Messenger or the chat function we have on Live Mocha, or you might even use email. Whatever you use, make sure you're asking clarifying questions. Don't make any assumptions about the student, because you have to confirm and to some degree challenge the client's objectives. If a student says, I'm going to Italy this summer and I want to learn Italian so that when I go to Rome I can order from a restaurant and get directions, seems like a reasonable objective. Just make sure it's clearly that's what they want to do, and challenge them a little bit about how much experience do they have in Italian, and if they don't have any, have they at least got some experience in Spanish, because there's a good similarity there. So you can help them figure out whether or not they've got the time. So your job as a language coach, a really great coach, will always acknowledge and assess the client's aptitude for that particular skill, in this case, learning a new language. How much prior experience do they have? And how much effort are they willing to put in And of course, how much effort are they actually putting in to the learning of that language? All of those elements help you reestablish and reconfirm every time you get the chance with your particular student whether or not that objective that they have is realistic. Your main job as a great coach is to guide and cajole, inspire, encourage, and push your student to make the progress that's appropriate for them. And always remember and accept that the client student owns the outcome. You don't. In the same way, a mountaineer still has to climb the mountain, even if they have a Sherpa that will help show them the safest and most effective route to the top of that mountain. So I want to take a moment here and point out that in this program, you, as the language coaches, and Live Mocha, and the students are all working together. Your success will lead to your client student success, and only through that success of delivering on the promises of teaching language fluency to every person on the planet, only through that can we achieve our mission. We cannot do this without you. And so we have some recommendations for you to get started to make sure that you're successful in this program. To begin with, make sure you begin every relationship with a new potential student or a student you're actually working with that's paying you. Start that relationship with the acronym SMART. It stands for be specific, very specific about the objectives and the tasks and the effort that's required. Make sure it's measurable. That's what the M is for. Make sure it's measurable. We have lots of great quizzes and flashcard tools and all kinds of mechanisms inside of Live Mocha. And of course, because of your experience, you have other tools at your disposal as well. Make sure you're measuring the progress with your student client. Make sure they understand that they are accountable for the work and you are accountable for guiding. Make sure they're realistic about their objectives. And finally, with the T, make sure that the time frame that they have in mind for what they're trying to accomplish is realistic as well. So you have specific, measurable, accountable, realistic, time-based projects with your student client. You will have a much better chance of having a successful long-term relationship with that paying client. I'm begging you to feel free to suggest any resources at all that you have at your disposal. Some tutors have pointed students at YouTube videos to train their ear and to watch certain links. Great blog posts in other languages. Facebook has some really great techniques. I love Deutsche Welle has this fantastic word of the day mechanism that works really well for students learning German that I've been helping in the past. Use whatever you have at your disposal. We urge you to please use Live Mocha messaging for all written communication between you and your student. You can, of course, use email or Messenger or Skype. You can use postcards. You can meet for coffee. You can do whatever you like. But if you are sure to use Live Mocha messaging for all your written communications between you and your student, then Live Mocha will be in a position to be able to serve you as the language coach when you have a particular issue that you need help with. So make sure you keep us in the loop by just making sure all your messaging is done through Live Mocha. Remember that your student clients want structure. Now, our active framework structure works as a fantastic starting point, and for many students, that's all they need, and for many other students, they need a different kind of structure, or they need additional structure in addition to that. You'll be in control of all that you decide, but please start using active as the framework, because then we have a point of common reference among all of the coaches working together so that we can help each other make the most use of those tools and effectively grow together in making this program more successful. Remember this. I know I've said it a couple times. I'm going to say it a couple more times. Ask clarifying questions. Don't assume anything at all about what your student is trying to achieve. Make sure you are encouraging a lot and challenging a little. Your job is not, as a teacher, to drive someone to pass a test. Your job is to encourage them. And in some cases, perhaps if you're teaching English, a TOEFL exam may very well be an objective that a student has. Go ahead and challenge them to make sure that they can accomplish that. But your job as a language coach is to encourage them, not to teach them and not to push them too hard. In the end, they have to do the work. And finally, I would urge that you all remember that progress comes in waves. Be patient. Some students, we have, again, 4 years of experience, and many millions of students have come through this program through our existing programs at Live Mocha, and we've seen it again and again. Students will come, work really hard for a couple weeks, and they'll go away for a couple weeks. They get busy with their jobs, they get busy with their lives, and then they come back and they want to work on it some more. Your job is to help them in between those waves, to encourage them to come back and keep up the steady progress. But just recognize that these are adults, typically over the age of 25, and they've got busy lives, and they're going to have to continue to work in their lives, and they're going to be making progress in waves.